the paperclip, the half mile of mayhem.
One more shot for playoff drivers.
Big pressure moment, gains better moment.
Every spot could be the difference.
Just be tougher than they are.
The elimination race at Martinsville.
Welcome to Around the Track, presented by Moultrie Mobile. I'm Kim Coon, alongside Ryan Flores. We have wrapped up Homestead Miami Speedway weekend, and I have got to give Tyler Reddick credit. Last week, I put him in the black flag position because I know he's a driver that likes to take risks. I did not think those risks were going to work out for the team. They took one of the biggest risks, ends up with a win at Homestead Miami Speedway with a last lap pass on the last corner on deficit tires at a track where tires matter. And unfortunately, it was to the deficit of Ryan and his team, the number 12.
Oh, man, I've never been so bummed about having such a great day. We crushed it on pit road all day. Blaney did a great job. Jonathan Hassler on top of the box, great strategy. And we just got beat at the end. You know, Tyler Reddick pulled some heroic stuff. And we've seen that, like you said, get him in trouble over the years there. But it stuck this time. It was like the old Cole Trickle. I'm going to take him on the outside. But, yeah, it was a bummer for us to lose that race. But the good news is, we're not going to stew on it very long because we are already getting ready for Martinsville and chasing another grandfather clock. We got one last year at this race. We're going to try to do it again.
Yeah, so some things to keep in mind as we head to Martinsville Speedway for all three of NASCAR's top national series. Like we mentioned, Tyler Reddick already locking himself into a championship 4 spot. He wasn't the only one on the Xfinity side of things. Austin Hill, who he had his best Miami race ever.
Yeah, I tried to tell you guys last week that 21 team is so strong. They're really strong on pit road, and they executed, and they got in the victory lane.
Yep, the other thing to keep in mind, there's a lot on the line for drivers outside the playoffs as we only have 2 races left in the 2024 season.
Yeah, and we're going to give you our championship 4 picks, so we're going to break that all down later in the show. Also later in the show, Tyler Reddick's coming to see us, so you get to talk to him about what's going on and chasing a championship.
Yeah, we'll talk to him. And he is worry-free as the series heads to Martinsville Speedway. That's not the case for the other 6 playoff drivers looking for those last 2 spots, and Martinsville is always the site of dramatics.
This short track in Southwest Virginia always delivers.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. get his first Martinsville win.
Back at the just wrecked Joey Logano.
This win's gonna punch his ticket. We're going to Homestead. A drag race, they're sideways, and it's gonna be Logano getting the win.
2 spots in.
Holy cow. Chastain did a video game move.
Give it, faster, man. I guess it does work.
Oh, you gotta love Martinsville Speedway.
We are now joined in studio by the man of the hour, Tyler Reddick, who pulled off, I don't want to call it the impossible because you did it, the win at Homestead Miami to lock yourself into the championship 4 with a last lap pass. How many times have you rewatched that?
I think probably like 8 or 9 times. I think we were headed to do a couple interviews after Media Center and everything on that Sunday night, and Davis Schaefer handed me his phone. I got to kind of relive the final 7, 8 laps there for the first time from the phone, and just, I don't know, it's just kind of in disbelief. It almost didn't seem real. Yeah, each time I watch it, it just seems almost more and more impossible that it worked, but it certainly did.
Well, the benefit of that win is it locks you into the championship 4. The bigger benefit is that you are worry-free when you head to Martinsville this weekend.
Yeah.
So we're going to preview that race with you, even though there's 0 pressure on you on the team. So with that being said, though, you've got 0 pressure, but you think about the 6 playoff drivers who are still looking for a spot. They've got 500 of the most intense laps ahead of them.
Yes.
How hard is it to mentally stay cool at Martinsville during a playoff race?
It's really hard. You know, for me in this race last year, I definitely lost my cool numerous times throughout this race with a number of drivers that weren't in the playoffs. This is a place where qualifying is so important. Just very, very quickly, you know, your day can snowball out of control if you have a bad qualifying effort or your car doesn't have the fire-off speed to give you the confidence going into qualifying of putting that lap down. The margin of error is so small with this next-gen car, and especially a place like Martinsville, you can't make any mistakes, and it's a tall task to take on its own. Not even let alone in the playoffs when you understand the moment is big, and you have to qualify so good to almost guarantee yourself some stage points in the beginning for those that are, you know, around the cut line, or those that are kind of in that spot, maybe like Denny, where, you know, points possible, but having to win is is the only way to guarantee a spot.
One of the challenges of Martinsville is pit road. It's tight, it's tricky, it's a headache for drivers, for crews. There's a lot of blind spots.
Yes.
Where do you rank it on most difficult pit roads?
Yeah, I think, with the nature of the speeds, the lack of speed, I guess, you carry on this pit road. Feels like you're on pit road forever. It is tight, it is narrow, so things still do happen really, really fast. But when you come from a track like Homestead or Las Vegas, where there's next to no grip coming in or leaving the pit box, you go to Martinsville and the car stops on a dime and launches on a dime. It's very easy to, the first time you leave your pit box, just absolutely speed leaving the box because, again, the pit road speed is so slow. It's always really, really tricky, and as you mentioned, I think another huge factor when it comes to Martinsville is the blind spots that you have. We're positioned in the car where we can see quite a bit, but it just so happens that at a number of these pit roads that we have, that where we need to be looking to pick up on our pit sign and find our pit box is kind of in the blind spot of the A post, separating the windshield to the quarter window on the left side of the car. So it's another thing that just adds to that complexity you have there. And then finally, for those that try to help themselves with a more open exit and entry to their pit box on the corner, have to deal with the banking on the right side of the pit box if they enter their box a little bit too wide.
All right, you grabbed the second spot in the championship after Joey Logano. We're making our championship final 2 picks later. I have to guess that you're going to go for your Toyota teammates, Bell and Hamlin.
Oh, that would be ideal. That'd be great.
To fill out your championship 4, is it safe to say?
Yeah, I would love to see those guys in there. They've got, Christopher's got a pretty good road. Denny's in a spot where, I think either way, if he wants to make it in on points or win the race, he's got to be up front all day. And we've definitely seen the capability out of him and out of Gabe Hart. So Martinsville means a lot to him as a driver, and he loves winning there, and he's had a lot of great moments there. So a place that a driver really wants to win at, that's at the top of his list.
Well, congratulations on the Homestead win and racing for a title at Phoenix. Like we mentioned, Tyler Reddick's already locked himself into the Cup Series Championship 4 at Phoenix. One driver on the Xfinity side of things that is hoping for a Championship 4 spot is Justin Allgaier, and he's got a little bit of luck this weekend that he's going to be using.
So this year's helmet is a really unique one. The horseshoe on here is probably the most important piece. As a kid growing up, my grandfather always carried a horseshoe with him. My grandpa Bud was somebody that was my biggest supporter. There's no really words to describe what my grandpa Bud meant to me, what he was able to do for me in my career. Probably the reason that I'm still doing this today. And he would always carry a horseshoe, and my oldest daughter Harper, she would always hear that stories about him carrying a horseshoe. And she always kind of knew what my grandfather meant to me. So this year, she wanted to put a horseshoe on the helmet. She added to it by saying, it's your lucky year, go have some fun and win some races. Love, Harper and Willow. When I retire from the sport of auto racing, probably my most prized possessions will be the number of helmets that she's been able to paint for me over the years, and really, really makes it awesome.
As we look at Justin Allgaier's Martinsville stats, he won this race last year in dramatic fashion, but let's go back to that helmet, right?
Yeah.
My buddy Greg, he owns Off Axis Paint, and this is something I've been able to watch the progression of. It's their 8th year of Harper and Greg painting a helmet for Justin's championship run. Obviously, he hasn't been able to win one yet. He's still chasing it, but the helmets are just so cool. My favorite one, I think, was a unicorn. They actually
that was a really good one.
Yeah, they put a unicorn horn on there, so it was. It's really cool to see the progression of that. And as she grows up, how she hears the story about her family, and she has the horseshoe on there this year.
I love that Willow got a hand in making it this year too, Harper's younger sister. But you mentioned this is their 8th year making that helmet. It's Justin's 8th consecutive year with a win in the Xfinity Series, and I think that is just the perfect snapshot of the kind of driver he is and the consistency we see from him across the board. Now, recently they've had not as much consistency, but the last couple of weeks it feels like they're finally back to normal, is how Justin described it. 3 straight finishes of 8th or better after a streak of 5 straight finishes of 17th or worse. It feels like, again, they're back on track. They enter this weekend plus 35 to the elimination line.
And that's why the regular season is so important, right? It sets you up to have a little bit of an off playoffs if you have a great regular season. That's why I love this format. And just going back to Justin, he's getting a little older now, and people are asking, when are you going to be done? He just signed a 2-year extension at Junior Motorsports, so I'm excited to see what the future holds. As we look ahead of these playoff standings, we gotta pick our final 4. So who are you going with?
Yeah, so let's take a look at the standings. Like we mentioned at the top of the show, Austin Hill locked himself in with that win at Homestead Miami Speedway. AJ Allmendinger with the Vegas win, so that puts Justin plus 35, Cole Custer plus 28. Below the elimination line, Chandler Smith, Jesse Love, Sam Mayer, Sammy Smith, I'm going to play it really safe and boring. I don't think we see a shakeup. I think Justin Allgaier and Cole Custer at plus 35 and plus 28 take those 2 final spots.
Yeah, and I feel the same way when I look at that, but there's 2 outliers here. Sam Mayer, he loves spoiling the party.
He does.
And then I saw a Chandler Smith interview from this week where he said—
I think I saw the same one.
He said, I don't have anything for next year. I could be working construction for my dad, so I'm going for broke. So I think him and his crew chief, Jeff Mendering, they can bring a great piece to Martinsville. But also Jesse Love, that 2 car was so fast here last year. So I don't want to kind of throw any shade at them, but unless they win and I don't see one of those 3 winning, it's going to stay the same. I'm going the same as well.
I do like your point about Jesse Love. I talked to the team last weekend, and they were not optimistic about Homestead Miami Speedway. They said our best shot and something we feel strongly about is winning at Martinsville. But to your point about Chandler Smith, like, he's got nothing to lose. You look at the field in general, it's going to look very different in 2025, and I think we might see some of that spill into this weekend in terms of drivers not really caring about how they treat other drivers.
Yeah, and then you put, some outliers. One guy that I love seeing in the field this weekend is Bubba Pollard in that Sam Hunt entry. He's a short track legend, so it's going to be cool to see him in the field. We'll have some other guys in the truck field this weekend. As we look ahead to the trucks, Johnny Sauter can be back in the field this weekend, Corey Day. But when we look at these standings, who is your championship for?
Again, I'm going to play boring. First of all, we got to give credit to Grant Enfinger and Jeff Stankiewicz. They've won the last 2 races. Kudos to them. So they have got so much momentum headed into Phoenix in that championship 4. Not only that, that means they kept another driver from locking in a spot into the championship 4. But, you look at Corey Heim's lead over the elimination line, plus 49. Christian Eckes plus 38. He was the spring winner at Martinsville in the Truck Series, and Ty Majeski plus 22. Again, playing it safe. I'm going to say we're not going to see any shakeups, although I would love to see one of the guys below the cut line, especially Rajah Caruth, come in there and just throw a Hail Mary.
I'm going with the guy all the way below the cut
really?
line, Nick Sanchez at minus 43. I think he's going to throw a Hail Mary. He's been so fast. We've seen him perform in high-pressure situations, so I think Sanchez wins and knocks Ty Majeski out. So that's my 4. Enfinger, Heim, Eckes, and Sanchez.
All right, we're going to have to wait and see how everything plays out. After the break, though, Erica's going to get you set up with where you should put your money. It's easy money with E.
Hey race fans, Corey LaJoy here. Join Ryan Flores and myself for Stacking Pennies each week. I'll break down my race and explain what happened right out of my windshield.
Plus, we award the Dogs of the Week for the best pit crews and go in-depth on all the money stops, pit road mistakes, and penalties.
And we've got a ton of guests. We have SVG stopping by. We had Ricky Stenhouse after he punched Kyle Busch in the face. We've had Bubba. We've had all sorts of guys in here in the Nonsense Garage, so you do not want to miss it. Check us out on Sirius XM Channel 90, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts. Each and every week, Stacking Pennies. That's what's up.
So who is your best value pick for your fantasy league?
I've got it's my guy.
Yeah, we took a gamble this weekend.
Luck or the lack thereof.
It's a big factor here today.
Listen to me out there, gamblers.
That's big, baby.
Hey racing fans, Erica here, your NASCAR betting analyst for Around the Track. And now that we are almost at the finish line for the season, I've got another quick 6 picks for you for Martinsville. Let's dive into it. Number 1, Chase Elliott, top 3 finisher at plus 250. Chase Elliott is the only driver this season who has finished in the top 10 in all 6 short track races. Also, we know that Chase Elliott's got to win this weekend to stay alive for next weekend. Number 2, Ryan Blaney, minus 120, top 5 finisher. Blaney's got 9 top 5 finishes at Martinsville, and like his boy Chase Elliott, he's got to win to stay alive for next week's race at Phoenix. Number 3, let's talk about a non-playoff driver here in Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe, as we know, is moving over to JGR next year, so I feel like this will be a really good spot for him as a top 10 finisher at plus 130 to put together an incredible race and prove that he's got what it takes to replace MTJ next year in that JGR car. And speaking of JGR and MTJ and Chase Briscoe, there's a head-to-head featuring Briscoe and MTJ where Briscoe's minus 105 and MTJ is minus 125. Well, I'm going to back the little bit longer odds and back Briscoe at minus 105 to win that head-to-head. Number 5, my outright winner pick for Martinsville is none other than Denny Hamlin at plus 450. Now, if you've been watching Around the Track this season, you know I've been high on Denny. I've been saying that this is his year. And if home track, home field, home court means anything in sports, and I believe it does, Martinsville should be his for the taking, which leads me to my final pick, number 6 for this week. I've got my prediction for Reddick, Logano, and Bell and Hamlin to be the final 4 drivers standing before we head to to Phoenix next week. Make sure you follow me on my social media at Erica Renee D for some extra bonus bets as we get closer to race weekend. But for now, back to you, Kim and Ryan.
Less than this ruler determine the winner of the race.
You put him in this position, and we're having the conversation today about why did every other crew chief miss the two-stop strategy.
This is Formula One racing, this is road course racing, and this is also short track racing.
You've only got to get to here, just over a car width.
Catch NASCAR Inside the Race each week on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
It all comes down to this, Martinsville. One last shot to race for a title. The greatest fear? Being left out in the cold. Don't be on the outside, be on the inside. It's NASCAR Inside the Playoffs on True TV and Max.
As always, we get you up to speed for everything going around at the racetrack this weekend, and it starts on Thursday. And what is Thursday, Kim? Halloween.
Woo!
So there's a Halloween spooktacular. What else on this list has you pumped up?
Well, before I get to what has me pumped up, what are the kids going to be for Halloween?
Goofy and one of the Descendants characters. So we're excited.
Nice. So we can't wait to see the kids dressed up for the Halloween Spooktacular Thursday at Martinsville Speedway. I always love a coffee with Clay. Clay Campbell is the president of Martinsville Speedway. He is so down to earth, and he loves answering questions and just having chats with fans. So that's always something to circle on the list of things.
Absolutely. Martinsville is one of my favorite midways right there next to Turn 4. You can see a full list of this weekend's events at martinsvillespeedway.com.
Yeah, and the vibes are high at Martinsville.
Absolutely. It's my favorite.
Yes. All right. And with that, it's time to talk Cup Series Championship 4. We already know two of the drivers that have locked themselves into the race at Phoenix. That is Joey Logano and Tyler Reddick. So as we look at the standings, Christopher Bell plus 29, William Byron plus 7, and then you see the guys on the other side of that elimination line, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, and Chase Elliott. Before we make our final two Championship 4 picks, I gotta say, as you look at the 6 drivers that are out, you can make a case for any one of them winning this weekend.
Absolutely, and this year has been so much different. 8 of the last 12 drivers that have won races have been outside the playoffs or below the cutoff line, and then you also look at 61% of playoff drivers have had trouble. Last week was the first time that only one playoff driver had trouble, with Kyle Larson spinning out, but before that it's been 5, 6 of the playoff drivers having trouble. That being said, only one driver has pointed their way in going into the final race in deficit. So I'm saying Christopher Bell's, he's good.
You and I agree on that. I think Christopher Bell is good. There's a circumstance where he locks himself in based on where he finishes, regardless of what any other driver does. So he feels safe to me, so I'm also picking Christopher Bell.
I'm going there. And then I'm never going to bet against myself.
I know.
Kim.
I knew
we
that was going to happen.
We are going with the 12 team. We're going to go win this race. We're going to do our best, and I see us going to victory lane and get another grandfather clock.
Yeah, this was so hard for me. And so, I played it safe with Xfinity and trucks saying that the 4N are going to stay the 4N. I'm going to continue that kind of streak. I'm sorry. I'm not picking the 12. I'm picking the 24. I was really thinking, like, why do I think the 24 can do it? And it's based on what they did, not only in the spring winning Martinsville, but they were not good in the fall, and they scrapped. They were so hard fighting in the fall race to make it in on points last year, and I think we see that same kind of fight from them this year.
Yeah, absolutely, and they won the last race here. So I don't know, you never bet against Rudy Frugal on that 24 team, but we're coming for him.
All right, it's time for the white flag, which means I've got some trivia for Ryan.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I think so.
All right. There is only one manufacturer that has had a driver in the championship for every single year of this format of the playoffs. Which one is it?
I'm gonna go Ford. I'm going home team.
He has to, because that's the badge he wears. Not Ford. It is actually
Chevrolet.
Not Chevy. You got one more guess.
Toyota.
That's
crazy because they have the least amount of cars in the field each week. So I wouldn't have, that's my last guess. Man, I got that one super wrong.
That's okay. But yeah, Toyota is the only manufacturer that's had a driver in all of the Championship 4 races since this format.
Well, I hope we get another Ford in this weekend with our Ford. And hey, this is our white flag episode. Join us here next week as we take you to Phoenix in our last around the track of the year.